my balls to my butthole, yeah. Oh my God, what did I do? I can't take a dump, 'cause now my balls are blocking up my butthole. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. Good God, I pulled too hard, now my scrotum's stretched out like a fucking yard. Oh God, I grew my balls to my butthole, baby. Oh my God, what did I do? I can't take a dump, 'cause now my balls are blocking up my butthole. My lady doesn't want a life of watching her man use a butter knife, face down, ass up, try and saw off his sack. Oh baby, fucking please just take me back. I grew my balls to my butthole, baby. Oh my God.
Robert hath a swift hand, he doth gaze upon the field, and he maketh a plan, and he hath a jaunty cap. Perched upon his head he's a longbowman, he did find an old bow of yew, and a quiver of arrows in his father's chest, wherefore I cannot say, but he cometh for thee, yea, he cometh for thee. Oh, ye bully rooks with the buckskin boots, best ye go, outrun my bow. Oh, ye bully rooks with the buckskin boots, best ye go, faster than mine arrow. Oh, ye bully rooks with the buckskin boots, best ye go, outrun my bow. Oh, ye bully rooks with the buckskin boots, best ye go, faster than mine arrow. Father worketh all day, and he cometh home late, yea, he cometh home late. Mayhaps he bringeth me a gift. Stew is in the pot, though it doth taste of grit. I have waited ere long, now mine eye is quick, and mine arm is strong. I reason with me crooked cap, and say thou art an artless greasy tallow catch, yea. Oh, ye bully rooks with the buckskin boots, best ye go, outrun my bow. Oh, ye bully rooks with the buckskin boots, best ye go, faster than mine arrow. Oh, ye bully rooks with the buckskin boots, best ye go, outrun my bow. Oh, ye bully rooks with the buckskin boots, best ye go, faster than mine arrow. Oh, ye bully rooks with the buckskin boots, best ye go, outrun my bow. Oh, ye bully rooks with the buckskin boots, best ye go, faster than mine arrow. Oh, ye bully rooks with the buckskin boots, best ye go, outrun my bow. Oh, ye bully rooks with the buckskin boots, best ye go, faster than mine arrow.
3, 2, 1, go. Okay, fingers in. Okay, seatbelt comes off. There we go. Loop in. Okay, now with my other hand, I'm gonna kick the seat back and I'm gonna open the seat. I'm gonna open the door. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All the way down. I'm out and I can escape freely. Okay.
Two fingers. Seat down.
In the arms of the
This is the emergency broadcast system. This is not a test. Repeat, this is not a test. This is our advised to take the following steps. If exposed, remove the chemical.
Podcast for the curious mind. I don't know what that means.
Broadcasting live from a Chinese-made microphone from a town that does not have one single tennis court. I am your host, Cussing with Hussing, here with May Massacre himself. Sunbun is with us, no longer in a dark corner. You out of your dark place? Feel
I'm
better?
out. Yep,
Okay.
I feel better.
You were worried. I think
I'm
you scared
mentally
off.
strong.
Terrence was too old. He was scared of you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it was. He saw Sunbun, and 12 years as a cop, he couldn't think of one thing that had happened to him because he was staring at you in the corner.
Yeah, he was terrified.
Looking like Baba Yaga.
Guys, we have a special guest today. The I don't know what that means. Voice of our intro is in the house with us tonight. Rich Baruso. Thanks for coming on the show, bud. Nice to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too.
Guys, was the intro too long? Like, I feel like I saw 3 people jamming out to the pumped up kicks, and then there was Rich's face was like, what the fuck am I listening to?
No, it was good. I like that.
It felt like you were in a Renaissance fair a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe not good. I debated whether to have a school shooting as an intro song, but I went against my better judgment. We got a couple people in the chat. Oh, AK6781, not Anna Korokova. Busting our balls for struggling here in the morning or in the evening here. A little late start. Apologize for that. But we're here now. And we have got a show for you. So I don't know if you saw the clip art by any chance. Canadian healthcare is in the news. And the reason it's in the news, I don't know if you guys saw this clip, but there was a mother in Canada, Kayla, and it's not confirmed by multiple doctors. One doctor told her that it was vaccine related. So when she got the vaccine, she went into paralysis and became a paraplegic. And horrible, mother of a couple kids. There's actually I looked up because I saw just the article on Twitter, but I looked up the actual story of her, what she had to say, and I thought I'd just share it with you because it's better if she tells you here.
Was one of millions coerced and deceived into getting the deadly COVID shots when they were mandated in 2021.
Could you tell us why you decided to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
Basically, a lot of it had to do with the things I was hearing on TV. So there was a lot of fear just being screamed at me by not just the TV, but
I don't know about you guys, but I sort of forgot just how intense it was in 2021.
Yeah, but I mean, to live in fear because the TV is screaming at you. I mean, if that's not the most Canadian thing I've ever heard.
All right.
But also, when you hear the WHO is on TV telling you that this is like a deadly pandemic and, people with immune disorders are going to, die from COVID-19 more likely than other people. I was hearing about that, and my dad was dying in long-term care at the time. In order to go see him, I needed the shots. In order to go to work, I needed the shots.
A week after receiving the Moderna booster shot, she fell to the floor and was paralyzed for 30 minutes. Another episode happened a week later, and shortly after that, she became paralyzed from the neck down. The first doctor told her that this was something that often happens to people when they're upset, and that it was all in her head.
He told me that this was something that often happens to people when they're upset, and that this was in my head.
That's good old Canadian healthcare for you right there.
But it's free,
It's
right?
free.
Yeah,
That's
it's
why
free,
it's
but
free.
it's not worth a shit.
I hear people, maybe that took it a little too far politically saying that, but I've heard people talk about the pros of like preventative care being free in Canada and really encouraging that. But when it comes to actually needing something done, it's a different story. It's better to be in the US for that, even though it'll cost you a quarter of your life.
Right.
So,
How much is your life worth?
yeah. Well, and there's more to this too. Because you think this is bad, right? Like this is rough. She's going through all this with being told it's in her head. Like that's a horrible thing. Like you literally can't move your body, and for 30 minutes, and the doctor's like, "Yeah, you're stressed. Just calm down."
And the good news was that I would get better because I was essentially having an episode that was some sort of psychotic episode. I asked him when I would get better, and he said, it's up to you, really.
A second doctor was honest with her, but had to keep it hidden.
The second diagnosis, a doctor came to me and he whispered in my ear and he said, I think there's something seriously wrong with you. I do not think you're faking. He said, I have a neurologist or a radiologist who's willing to read your report at home. If you go into the scanner right now, I can get that done.
They found
a couple things there. Like he leaned over and whispered in her ear like it was Soviet Russia.
Right. And like,
well, she couldn't walk over to him. What do you mean?
She needs the Stephen Hawking thing to.
That's horrible. You guys are horrible human beings.
True though.
I like how they were just like, "Oh, just shake it off. You can get up out of that chair. Just shake it off."
I was wondering if they'd given her any sort of scans. Like, did they check anything, or is he just like, fuck it, you're just having a moment?
It gets worse.
Found a massive lesion on her spine, and the doctor told her it was most likely caused by the vaccine, and that he's seen many cases just like it.
Most likely it's going to be probably.
She secretly records this conversation with her doctor.
I'm using my private impression here from the vaccine.
So other people have had it?
Many people have had
Many?
it. Many.
Kayla spent several months in the hospital's rehabilitation center.
So, now she's, fighting all this going on. And Canada's healthcare system has a solution for Kayla. This is horrible. She's a paraplegic now. But Canada will fix this. It'll make it right.
Offered her medical assisted suicide on 2 occasions, which is the only assistance the medical system seems to offer.
Rehab didn't do a whole lot. When I was sent home from rehab, I was told that I'd be getting a lot of personal support hours, and I got home from rehab, and for 4 days straight, nobody came.
If this story is disturbing to you, then it means you still have a heart.
Okay, all right. There's this little
Okay. First of all, they went straight Kevorkian. That's wild to me. What?
Did you guys know Canada has this?
How long has Canada had
assisted suicide?
Yeah.
Yeah, how long?
Well, that is a great question. I think it was 2017, but I could be off by a factor of 5. I'll just I don't know. But it was around that time, because I remember hearing about this quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
But this case, like you hear this case, right? Like whispers and doctors being afraid to talk. And then here she is, a paraplegic mother. It's not like she didn't have anything to live for. It was just like, hey, your life's going to suck. We can offer to kill you.
And she said that she was supposed to get assistance and nobody showed up for 4 days. So that means for 4 days she didn't eat. Nobody took her to the bathroom.
Oh, Naomi,
She
you're
just
amazing.
sat in that.
2016 is when
She just sat in herself for 4 days.
Well, she had her family there, her husband and stuff, but there was no, no
Like,
outside care. But
yeah.
that's beside. I mean, to me, that's almost beside the point. Like the fact that you offered to kill her, like twice on 2 different times. Like, hey, you sure? You sure you don't want to? So I have done.
Sleep on it.
Yes.
I wonder what the benefit for them is for suggesting that to somebody. I mean, and wouldn't that interfere with like big pharma and medical companies?
That's a great point because first of all, it turns out that Canada is the suicide capital of the world now. So and
because of assisted suicides
with Canadian stats, which now there is in question that they've hid stats. So like with the already acknowledged stats of suicides in Canada, it is the #1 suicide country in the world. But with the hidden stats, it could be even more so the #1 country in the world. Like that's how many people are killing themselves and can't. May I know you want to say it?
I'm just surprised that where's the merch? I went up for suicide and all I got was this lousy T-shirt. Like they could make a killing off of this.
But
would you guys like to see I feel now, all jokes aside, like how many of you guys have put down a pet?
Not personally, no.
You've never had a pet you've put down? Never?
No.
Like you Old Yeller? You never had an Old Yeller moment as a kid growing up where you had to make the choice? Am I the fucked up one here? Am I just
No, well, I guess my parents we had to put down our dog when but not me personally.
Well, but it was a family dog, right?
Yeah.
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 I mean, okay, so you're willing to put down a family pet because they're suffering, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like they're suffering. Like my dog, when I had to put him down, he had severe arthritis and cancer in his back, and he was a big dog, and he would cry as he stood up or went to lay down, like painful yelps, and that's it's nothing you could do, and like putting him down, he was 9 at the time, he wasn't even old, but I felt like it was better than to him suffer for the next 2 years till he died, even worse. Why is it any different for humans?
I don't know. It's funny. I don't know if you guys know about or anything about Jordan Peterson, but there's a chapter in his book and it's called Treat Yourself as well as you treat your pet. So, for example, like when you're feeling sick, you don't always take yourself to the doctor, but you immediately take your dog to the pet, to the vet. So, like,
but yeah, no, it's a valid point right there.
Yeah.
Rich, I fucking love you because I actually have a Jordan Peterson segment that he talks about this very subject.
Oh, nice. Right on.
And I thought it was sort of interesting. Let's break around the 3-minute mark here. So they ask him how he feels about medical assistance in death, is what the program's called, or known as MAID.
But I'd be a liar if I said that there weren't times where if there would have been a button that would have just shut me off, I would have pushed it. Okay, so now on to medically assisted dying. We had a dog, Seco, and near the end of his life, it was getting pretty hard for him to breathe. Every breath became an effort, and so we made the collective decision to have him put down. And we liked that dog quite a lot. He was a great relief to my daughter when she was sick, and so it was a pretty rough day when we had him put down, but it was the right thing to do. But he's a dog, He wasn't grandma. And Nietzsche said, you know, you haven't lived long if you haven't seen that the compassionate hand sometimes kills. And, you know, there's something to that. You got to ask yourself how much agony you would be willing to watch someone go through before you might give them a hand. But that doesn't mean that that responsibility should be taken up by the government.
It causes a moment to dwell a little bit there. Now, the thing I thought was interesting about is what you said, Rich, earlier is like, is there any kickbacks? I mean, is someone getting a kickback here? You know, because obviously the pharmaceuticals aren't getting a kickback from this. You know, they would love to stretch it on as long. So I decided to do a little research.
Why wouldn't they though? I mean,
what do you mean?
Wouldn't the big pharma, aren't they going to provide the nanite, the internal nanite medicine? I mean, unless they're going to go in there with a 9mm to your forehead, I mean, or put a pillow over your head. Like drugs are going to be involved, right?
Yeah, but not a consistent use of the drugs, right?
Yeah, but fuck, they could charge whatever they wanted for that fucking cocktail.
Well, especially since it's government funded, I guess, right?
Yeah.
You could charge what? Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Who's responsible for that after you die too? Who pays for it? Is it passed on?
Right.
That whole bloodline's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Your life insurance.
You would think life insurance, would it be invalid? That someone brought that up today when we were talking about it. There's a lot of, like, it's just interesting that Canada just decided, despite all of these issues and people they could upset, they're like, no, we'll still pay to kill you. And they made a commercial. They actually made a commercial for it. I don't know if you guys want to see it. I'll show it to you.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Okay. This is it's called the Simon's commercial.
Last breaths are sacred. When I imagine my final days, I see bubbles. I see the ocean. I see music. Even now, as I seek help to end my life, there is still so much beauty. You just have to be brave enough to see it.
That's the Department of Propaganda from Canada with their MAID commercial. Now, I mean, I'm curious to, you know, like, what do you guys think? Like, I personally, I don't have a problem. If you want to kill yourself, yeah.
You know, yes and no. You know, if that's what you want to do, that's what you're gonna do. But it relates back to the pets. You know, when your great aunt Bessie is laying there and miserable, dementia, everything hurts. You know, like why are you gonna make her suffer? Because you don't want her to die.
So you're saying, you're saying make the decision to kill someone else, like Aunt Betsy.
Right? It's circumstantial though. Like, you know, I don't know. That's just how I feel about it.
I mean, what's the stipulation? Is it like chronic illness? Is it depression? Or are you making a decision for somebody else?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because I actually have their website pulled up here, and they've got a whole chapter on it. I'll pull it up here. Can you guys see that all right? Medical assistance in dying overview. So this is the eligibility for MAID for persons suffering solely from mental illness. Now, this is interesting. For people who are suffering solely from a mental illness, that's been delayed until March 17, 2027. So can't kill yourself if all you got is a mental illness until March 17, 2027. So
what happens March 17th, 2027?
If you have a mental illness, you can evidently kill yourself after that point.
St. Patrick's Day? Why not?
Well, you see, that's here's the stipulations here, because I think eligibility. So to be eligible for these services, you have to meet these requirements. You got to be at least 18 and mentally competent. This means being capable of making healthcare decisions for yourself. Have a grievous or irredeemable medical condition. Make a voluntary request for medical assistance and dying. So you have to bring it up, is how I read that, don't you?
Yeah.
The request cannot be the result of outside pressure or influence. Give informed consent to receive medical assistance in dying. So really the only real prerequisite is have a grievous or unfixable medical condition.
Which I would say is fine.
Well, and that's the thing though. I think absolutely if that's your decision, it's it's your body, your choice. But at the same time, like they're already proving that they're willing to put outside pressure or influence to make you request for medical assistance in dying.
Right.
That's what stood out to me the most about that story is they asked her twice, like, hey, this sucks. You want to just kill yourself? It's an option. Does that count as outside pressure or influence?
I would say so, yeah.
Maybe it's just like bullet points. Like, hey, we offer, meatloaf for lunch, and hey, X is paid by this, and oh, by the way, we offer a service where we can kill you.
Well,
maybe it wasn't as a push. It was more just, hey, these are our services that we provide.
Well, the thing that scares me is the mental illness, because if you're going to allow solely just mental illness be a prerequisite for killing yourself,
yeah.
According to stats now, 1 in 5 have a mental illness. I mean,
Okay,
what classifies as a mental illness?
Look, though, we have to put on the tough skin of sorry about it, but if you're wanting to take the easy way out and with this mental illness, and kill yourself and let the people that love you and everybody that has to hold on to that and take on to that because you selfishly, in a sense, decided just because of mental illness to go out, like, so I guess we don't need you. I guess we didn't need you because that's kind of fucked.
I don't want to condemn someone who makes a decision. Obviously what you're saying is right, but the Germans, when they describe the word for suicide, it's 2 words. It's self-murder. And they make a very distinct psychological differentiation between suicide because it's the act of murder. You're killing someone. It's yourself, but you're still committing an act of murder. But there is 2 sides, and that's why the word is called self-murder, is because you are also acquiescing to being murdered. And they likened it to the guy that studied this, likened it to World War I, when someone is so badly hurt in the dead man zone in the middle of a battlefield, and they would beg their comrades to kill them. So suicide anguish can be that powerful,
but there's no way out. Like, that if you're dying in the middle of a battlefield, like the chances of having a normal life or the chances of getting out of there alive or not even, or putting yourself in harm to have someone rescue you, you might as, I think that's a little different.
Those things are perspective based too. That was that situation, but those things apply to everyone. Has tragedies and based on the support system around them. And, I think that we can acknowledge that people get to a point where they need someone else to come in and be like, hey, you got this. Don't think that way. Think positive and push through. And the problem with it being a medical, like you're going to have a doctor suggest suicide to you rather than like, hey, let's work on some things to make your life feel meaningful.
Yeah, I was going to say, they don't push like social work and counseling, and
now they don't have to.
Well,
you saw too, they didn't show up. They didn't care enough to give her aid right off the bat. They pushed the narrative of, hey, we can kill you. Oh, but hey, we do offer in-home help that won't show up.
I think that's what's scary to me is they're
Should
no
we just
longer
bring
there
back
to
the
walk you
samurai
through
days
it.
where you just shove the sword right into your gut? You're just
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, you don't
I'm
have to
down with
pay.
that.
You don't have to pay for anything.
No.
I'm going
It's
out.
an honor,
like that.
right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm going out like that rather than sitting in a doctor's
Guys, this is
office or whatever.
completely up to you, but I'm going to share this here. They have a questionnaire that you can fill out on here, and
Scroll down.
let me. I think that's the right one here. Complete questionnaire. Yeah, there's a questionnaire you can do. Indigenous perspectives on medical assistance in dying. So they're trying to take out their First Nation people too. Like, they know they suffer from depression at higher amounts. So then they've got this, this whole, let's see, next page. Yeah, here's a questionnaire. You got to fill out all this. Never mind. This is not what I was thinking it was. My bad. I thought it was like a questionnaire, like, hey, what do you think of suicide? I think it is, but I don't want to like fill out a false form to the Canadian government and be banned from Canada ever again.
And
Like,
then your phone doesn't stop ringing, and they're like telemarketers, they just call you 8,000 times a day. Are you sure? Have you thought about it some more?
We got some viewpoints from the listeners. If we want to go through them real quick, AK6781 fan says, if you have freedom, you don't have equality, and if you have equality, then you've given up freedom. He goes on to say, what's the decision for euthanasia lies within the family, the community, the state, the country. They may all disagree. What's the answer? We can't leave the decision with the individual. He may be crazy. I think that, a doctor, don't they have to take an oath? Do they not take an oath in Canada to like try to preserve life? But doctors have like the Hippocratic oath they take. They gotta
I think we threw all those oaths out a couple years ago. With all of it. It is Canada too, so I mean, it takes a village.
Well,
It
this
definitely
goes
takes
on
a
in
village.
this is Oregon. Oregon does this.
Oregon does do it. There's a comedian that I followed for a while named Michael Laird, and he had ALS really bad, and he actually opted for assisted suicide in Oregon, which was he was in pain too. I mean, that's like a situation where I could see it, but
Yeah, for sure, something like that. Yeah, because there's no cure for that. That's not it, and that just gets worse and worse and worse as it progresses. I mean, Oregon, you couldn't even pump your own fucking gas for the longest time. So
you still can't pump your own gas in Oregon.
Ugh.
I was just there like a year and a half ago. I couldn't find anywhere I could pump my own gas. So,
well, I think that's like the difference Peterson was talking about is, a very personal decision. Or do you want the government encouraging that? Like if I understand that you're, diseases that can't be cured, but like if you're just depressed, like I mean that's I don't know. This comment here from AK: since COVID, we learned most doctors are grifters, my friend. Just after the money. I hate to say it.
Say it louder.
Brittany Bergen says, I think it might be an attempt to help the families. If someone is committed to doing it, they're going to do it regardless. At least this way, their family doesn't have to walk in on some gruesome scene.
True.
Isn't it better just to tell the families? You're like, hey, your person's really depressed. Why don't you help them? Like, no, we'll just help clean them up. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. There's a commercial in there somewhere. I can't put it together, but there's a commercial there somewhere. Canada's healthcare system. What it's all about. Anything else you guys want to say on this subject? Sort of hammered on it for a minute. No, we good? Is it time for our Pitbull Super Candidate of the Week?
Hell yeah.
Well, here we go.
Pitbull Super. You want to go hard like a dog? You want to go hard like a dog, Big Daddy? Not just any dog. Hard like a pit bull. Oh, yeah. Then you need Pitbull Super. Go get yourself some Pitbull Super.
Warning. Not to be used in hotel orgies with your friends. Side effects may include splitting penis or exploding penis, resembling a shotgun.
Pitbull Super, you stud. Try it now.
Pitbull Super Person of the Week. Now we have been derogatory to the Pitbull Super, and I think we're missing out on really mentioning the balls some people have as well. And no one had bigger balls than at the gun debate versus Spike Cohen and David Hogg. Did you guys hear about this debate? Our guest of the show, Spike Cohen, had a debate with the Parkland school shooting survivor David Hogg on gun control. And I'll be honest, it was an hour and 50 minutes long, and the rules were horrible. It shows why podcasts are a better format, because each person had 2 minutes to discuss like this huge, complicated subject, and then 30 seconds to respond for an hour and 50 minutes. And then they had a question and answer segment, and Lily hopped on.
Lily Tang Williams, welcome to my live free or die state. Actually, I am a Chinese immigrant who survived communism. And under Mao, 40 million people were starving to death after he sold communism to them. And 20 million people died, murdered during his Cultural Revolution. So my question to you, David, is that can you guarantee me, a gun owner tonight, our government in the U.S., in D.C., will never become a tyrannical government?
That is a great question. If you want to discuss gun debate, or have a debate about guns, that's really what it came down to. Can you promise that your government will never become tyrannical? Ever, ever, ever.
Can you guarantee that to me?
There's no way I can ever guarantee that any government will not be tyrannical.
Well, then the debate on gun control is over, because I will never give up my guns. Never. And you should go to China to see how gun control works for dictatorship of CCP. Hi,
They ended up cutting her off.
Yeah. I like how the guy was just like, okay, you're done.
Good for her, though.
Say what now?
Good for her, though.
Yeah. And I think it's different when you come from the supposed dream world everyone wants to go to, and you've seen 20 million people murdered, and you see the tanks roll in on Tiananmen Square.
Yeah.
And she is like she's like one of the largest gun advocates right now. She's actually, I found she's running for Senate in New Hampshire, the 2nd district. I found her campaign video. I don't know if you guys want to see it.
Oh yeah,
let's see it.
It's pretty good. Let me see here. Lily campaign.
I'm Lily Tang Williams. I was born in China to illiterate working class parents, suffered under Mao's Cultural Revolution and the communist dictatorship. I wanted freedom. America was my promised land. I was 23 when I fled tyranny. Arriving with $100 in my pocket and knowing very little English, I worked hard to make my American dream come true. Today, I'm happily married with 3 children, have my own businesses, and live in the grand state where the spirit of liberty resides. My concern is that my children and the grandchildren will not have the opportunities I had. I see the shadow of authoritarianism cast by politicians who have locked us down, closed small businesses, inflate our money and mortgage our children's future. I saw it all before in China. The division of society, silencing dissident voices, and taking away parental rights, the indoctrination of youth, endless government mandates and control. People are losing their rights to make a living and to make their own life choices. Are you worried yet? I am. I fear that the country I love is becoming like the country I left. That is why I'm running for Congress. It is time for the majority to speak up, defend our country from the radical left, and keep the American dream alive for our children.
Hell yeah.
My name is Lily Tang Williams.
Lily Tang!
I'm an American citizen by choice, running for Congress in New Hampshire's 2nd Congressional District. And please, donate, volunteer, and vote for me. I will be honored to serve people of New Hampshire.
Lily Tang Williams.
Okay.
What are their voter laws in New Hampshire? Because I'll vote.
I'm moving to New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I'll move to New Hampshire and get this woman in. Like,
I'll vote for here from Tennessee. Just say I'm a resident.
Right. What?
And
mail-in ballot. Doing the podcast from county jail next week.
Doing the podcast. You're gonna have to raise your audio there, May.
Get off the internet, bitch! My turn.
I thought she was awesome.
Yeah.
So I reached out to her. Yeah, I reached out to her campaign manager, and she's gonna come on the show.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah. So we gotta get a date and all that figured out because it's crazy right now. It's election season. But when you hear someone like that, and like I love that outside perspective. And I'd be very curious to like go into more of the details. I don't know if there'd be a ton of questions I think we could all ask her, but she seems like a spitfire. So yeah, so we'll see. I'll keep looking in on the channel, and we'll post it as soon as we find out. So anyway, Pitbull Super. That's their Pitbull Super. Like, I think she counts, right?
Oh yeah,
Super.
She's definitely.
All right,
Pitbull
She's my favorite so far. That's for sure.
You want to go hard like a dog? You want to?
All right. She's
it beats the fucking monsters we've been talking about lately. So
yes. I don't know if they're monsters. I think they're just.
I'm just glad it's not a woman with a beard or a man dressed as a woman.
Dude killed his wife.
Well, I say we keep the. I think we keep the happy train rolling with good news segment of the week. God damn it! Who's at the front door? Who is it?
Well, hey man, why do you look so glum? It looks like you could use some good news. See? Don't you feel better now? It's the good news segment of the week, brought to you by Rob Jackson's Sticky Green. Good news of the week.
Good news of the week. We got two for one. This one is this guy's father. Been a fan of his soccer team for 20 plus years. Never got a chance to go see him play because he was working hard for his family, 60, 70 hours a week. And he finally got to see the sports team. First time in person. Right? He's like, no. I like that one. It's reminded me of all the hardworking dads out there that don't get to do things for themselves. They have to take care of the other ones first. This one is this one's sort of nice. Kid with Down syndrome's handing out jerseys to the baseball team And they got him a jersey too because he is now a member of that baseball team as well. He didn't know. He didn't know he was getting one. You just handed them out. People who made the team. Yeah. That's why baseball is the best sport in the world.
Agreed.
It is. It's just there's nothing like it. Yeah, see? Don't you guys feel good? It's better? Huh? Talk about
All
some
warm.
Yeah.
I'll take
You
that.
know, yeah. The only reason I'm bringing that up though is because we've got
Is this one of your fantastic segues?
yeah, we gotta go to Molek. Molek news, everybody. This is May's fault. I just want to May sent me this.
It would be.
It's been a long time. It's Molek News. It's out there to eat kids and Jews. It's Molek. Molek News. It's an update, everybody.
Hopefully, we'll land on Uranus.
Molek news, everybody.
So where are all of my parents that have kids in grade school, like 1st through 5th grade? Because I have a question for you. Down here in southeastern Kentucky, they offer programs for children who don't have access to health care, especially for like dental work. And they sent a consent form home saying that they were selecting the grades and that your kid could get a free cleaning done for the service that they offer. They have a dentist come out on this big tour bus and they do the free cleanings. And I was like, okay, whatever. Well, they sent home a piece of paper in the mail saying that my kids, both of my kids who are in 1st grade, have abnormalities and that I would have to consent for them to do further treatment. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, my kids go to the dentist on a regular basis, like every 6 months to a year. Like, there's never no cavities, decaying. Their baby teeth are coming out, so their teeth are loose, but that's it. So I call the school. They tell me we have no control over that. You have to wait until the dentist call you. This lady calls me and she's going over the stuff that's wrong. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense how my kids' teeth, like from the last 6 months, are suddenly decaying and that they're going to need root canals and like all this kind of crap. Well, then she's like, well, we're going to send home consent forms. I just need you.
Okay, that's all I can take of her voice. That's
It's fair.
It's rough. No. So what she goes on to say is that the school dentist scheduled their appointment without her knowledge to get root canals when their family dentist had looked at him a month prior and said there was nothing wrong with their teeth. So she didn't. So she threw a fit about this, and the school called Child Protective Services on her. Take it in.
Oh, hell no.
When did schools start getting dentists? I never had a dentist when I was growing up.
No, you had a
well, they're down there in Kentucky, so.
What'd
the
you
only
say,
time
Nick?
I used to go to the nurses when I had to poop, so use the nurse's bathroom is nice.
Here's the thing I don't think you understand is like if she hadn't gone in, she would never found out that her kids were scheduled for root canals.
Yeah, that's not a little procedure that you can do.
Have you guys ever had a root canal?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I have as well. It's not a good time.
No.
And to do it they're in 1st grade, she said.
Yeah.
Good. They would have to use anesthesia. Those kids aren't going to sit through that.
That's what they told her. They said they were going to have to give them anesthesia. So they were going to gas her kids and perform surgery
What if
without
these kids
her
are allergic
consent.
to the anesthesia?
Well, that's her problem, I guess. You know, like you should have had better genes.
Motherfucker.
It just blows my mind that like, and it gets worse too because I started looking into, it's not just there's something weird going on with schools, the school system in the public setting, and that is, and maybe I'm wrong. Like both of you guys have your kids with you, but doesn't it seem like, man, they don't tell you anything unless they absolutely have to?
Yeah.
I mean, you technically have the right to walk into your school, go into the back of a classroom, and just sit and listen to a class.
Mm-hmm. You have to sign in though.
Okay, you sign in, and then
Right, like they don't just let you walk in anymore. Like that's your presence has to be known of, which whatever. But
like piss off your kid, but still, I mean, maybe not. Like, I mean, this was what, first grade? Here's a story from a fourth grade teacher. That I think maybe you might have shared this with me, May. I can't remember. I start losing track of what everyone's showing me. This fourth grade teacher. This is crazy.
That your
Is
child
this the Fight
was
Club?
not a fourth grade
Oh, no,
student in
this.
Tipton County, Tennessee, and that this woman right here, Alyssa McCommon, was not their teacher because she is now charged with 23 S offenses against minors under the age of 18, and she has 21 potential victims. 21. She's a 38-year-old woman, and she is allegedly pregnant with a 12-year-old student's child. And the saddest part is, you see in that top corner over there, that is her husband standing inside their house. He was arrested in front of her husband.
Good.
What in the hell is wrong with people? You heard me. She was a fourth grade teacher. She was arrested last year at the end of 2023. She bonded out in September. She had a no contact order against some of her alleged victims, but she couldn't resist herself. There's now a jailhouse telephone call that has been released at her re-arrest hearing in which she informs a 12-year-old student that they are the father of her unborn child.
Like, no, I can't say it because we'll get canceled, but
Well,
I have a 12-year-old. I have a 12-year-old boy. I swear to God.
Here's
25 investigators uncovering child sex abuse cases inside our local schools. Anchor and investigative reporter Carrie Kavanaugh wanted to find out how safe our children are in Massachusetts public schools.
She found state privacy laws are often protecting predators and school districts. A warning, some of what you're about to hear may be difficult for some viewers.
I don't even want to think about the hours I've spent in therapy and medications I've taken and tried, and just to try to have a normal life.
This woman inside her school.
And all they said is that
Since July, 25 Investigates has been working to determine how often children face sexual abuse in our public schools. Scouring through media reports, criminal court records, and lawsuits, we identified 75 cases dating back to 2002 of school personnel who've been in court over allegations of sexual abuse of students at their schools. They led to 64 school staff criminally charged, 11 of them facing charges in 2022 and 23 alone. And we found at least 150 students potentially abused by Massachusetts public school personnel.
The public has to be.
Everyone gives the Catholic Church a bunch of crap. But on a ratio, the public school system, they say there's a 10% chance that a teacher will do something to a child.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's just wild because, like when we were in grade school, it was always like, man, I don't know. I always think of that Devin story when he had the opportunity to hook up with his teacher. And then you think back at like your teacher, like my teachers I went to school in when I was 12, and they were all old as dinosaurs and had coffee breath back from World War I. Like I had no chances to hook up with someone with some heavies that was a blonde. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I get it. That's terrible. You shouldn't be doing that. But it's it's just wild because those kids are like, we're the age of the parents, and and for them to run home and be like, mommy or dad, hey, my social studies teacher, Miss Williams, made me pull my pants down. Like,
Well, they said one kid, like I believe this is from her, like jumped out of the car naked to get away from her. That's how they found out.
it's wild
That's
because
wild.
20 years ago it was a weird kink fantasy. Now it's like, how
Yeah.
dare you get naked and show me your boobies?
Well, and there's this thing going on in Chicago where the whole administration, starting with the very top, were all all ended up getting arrested. It was like 25 people in a school district that got arrested because it was all, they hired like-minded people. They talk about milieu. You get around the same milieu of people. Someone like that, a creep like that, gets in power, and he finds other creeps to put with him
easily. It's so weird.
I just saw on Twitter too that I don't remember where it was, but 7-year-olds they had a fight club in the classroom, and it got videotaped and leaked to the parents, and the parents were like, "What in the fuck are we doing here?" And the teacher, you can hear the teacher like cheering on the one kid, and the one kid's just pounding on the other one, like, and this goes on, I guess, like daily. A fight club in the classroom.
How do these parents not realize their kids are coming home beat to shit? Like, I don't.
Well, like, and Rich, you don't have kids, so like when you hear stories like this, like how does your mind process that?
I feel like everything's more like out there now, but I feel like when I was back in school, we were doing like crazy stuff like that too, like beating the shit out of each other and stuff like that. But
with the teacher cheering you on at 7 years
probably
old?
probably not, but I think stuff was probably going on then too that we just didn't hear about. I feel like it hasn't changed much, but everyone just has like a broader outreach nowadays due to social media and everything, so we hear more about it. But I don't think much has really changed. We were maybe a little bit blinded to it, but it was definitely there.
I disagree.
Why do you?
I know in high school it was different. Like high school, the sports teams would go in the locker rooms and fight the football coaches and yada yada.
Yeah.
And then you'd always be like, "Oh man, Miss Wiggins, I'd like to," or you'd see the girls flirting with the male teachers. That was in high school,
right?
I mean,
right. We're not talking about first
I don't
grade.
remember the wild shit going on in elementary school. And
Yeah,
middle school.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, definitely high school, but not so much.
Yeah, high school. That's
Well, that's an interesting point too, because I feel the same. Like when I was, as much as I want to be like, oh, that's so horrible. Like when I was 16, I would have banged, not my teacher because I was homeschooled, but I saw other people's teachers.
Your mom.
and I wanted to, go to town on them. It'd be fucking amazing. I would have been thrilled. And so like when I hear those stories as a man, I feel like when a girl, like the innocence of a girl and doing that to a young girl, a 12-year-old girl, 13, 14, that's horrible. As a horrible, sick human being. And but it could apply the same to young boys, too. I mean, obviously young boys.
It's
like
supposed to, but it's just different.
Yes. Yeah. But it doesn't make it better because she's a predator. She is a predator. Like it is predator tendencies, whether they like it or not. That 12-year-old, if he is the father, how do you process that? What is your life? You've taken that boy's innocence completely away. Now he's got to think of what it's like to be a father.
Right.
But at 12, if you're thinking you're going to be a father, I think that's pretty easy to shake off and just go play tag or video games and
maybe
not really worry about it.
Maybe for
some,
but I'm like, my 12-year-old would lose his motherfucking mind. All he talks about is Pokemon and the stories he wants to write and Deadpool and Marvel fucking.
Yeah,
Nerd
you
shit.
take all that away. I think you take all that
D&D.
away. You know?
Like, some bitch takes that shit away from him. Oh, I will go to prison.
Well,
Happily.
you've got 1 year left. All right. And maybe not even that. And it's already going to change for you. So enjoy it.
Wow.
I don't know.
It's already changing, but still.
If my 12-year-old son got a teacher pregnant, what is their knuckles at the dinner table, and then you tell them just live their life? Like, you ain't responsible to raise no child. You're 12 years old.
Right.
You're not 16. You're not 17 years old where you probably knew better. I mean, you probably knew you didn't even know your little pee shooted out that stuff. So, I mean, what are we talking about here?
Oh my God.
We got some comments here. This one from Brittany. They don't tell us crap. School districts are getting more corrupt every damn year. Don't give a damn about our kids. They only care about what's best for them, their bottom line, and their reputation. I agree with that. I agree with that. And and they throw it out there. Rich, did you know this? You do not have to have a passing grade to graduate now.
Yeah, I did not know that. Isn't that the point of graduating?
Nope, not the point. You made it through the system. Here's your degree. Doesn't matter. And I know this it was started with COVID and then they never stopped it. So when you see graduation rates in schools, keep that in mind because you can have a failing grade and still pass.
Well, and two, it's all about the funding and the money. The more kids that pass and graduate and everything else looks good, the funding comes in, the more money for the district. So yeah, before where you wanted to actually care about the youth and make sure that they were going to go and be prepared once they left those halls. They don't care about that anymore. They care about how much more money can we bring in for the school. Well, we care about these damn kids. They're just going to run the streets or, whatever. So good riddance. 4 years. I don't want nobody because nobody wants to put up with those kids anymore. Like, and that you see the videos of the kids beating the shit out of the students and the teachers and all this other stuff. Like, you don't want to deal with that. So, like, we've kind of put it on ourselves in a sense.
Yeah.
But you can't spank your kid. You can't physically touch your kid. They've done it. They've handicapped everyone in raising their kids. They want this. I think this is what they want.
Oh yeah.
Brittany Bergen says, yeah, this is one of the many reasons I want to homeschool my Molly girl. No kid should ever go through this. And here's the thing with homeschooling, like it's a lot of work for a parent. If you're going to do it right, it is an extensive amount of work. And you have to dedicate several hours every day to making sure that your kid's not going to fall behind. But not that you can fall behind
money too.
System.
Right. Yeah. But things are different today, Corey. Like they do it all on the computer. You sit in front of the laptop.
That's not a good way to learn at all. That's a horrible way.
No, it's not. But that's how homeschooling works anymore. I know so many people that have pulled their kids out of the school system, and that's it. That's how they do it.
And is that healthy? That's not healthy.
No,
they've shown.
Your screen time is limited, but now you got to go to school.
Because then that plays into the system of, okay, now one parent has to stay home. The bills get tighter. The chances of living on the streets gets higher, dividing the house, and if you bring in outside help, you have to pay an arm and a leg for it because no one's going to want to do that for cheap or free because they know how important it is to get that great education, develop those young minds for a better tomorrow. So either way, you're either paying an arm and a leg or one of the parents is having to take it on the chin. Like Corey said, hope to God that you're doing it right and the kid is actually learning and developing properly, or you've just knocked that kid down 2 or 3 years and they're 18 years old and they can barely read and write multiplication, then they're not even ready to go out in the world. So they have it where they want it. They have exactly where they want it. They want you to send your kids to school so they can get fucking indoctrinated with the bullshit that goes on. And then you have to hope and pray your kid just doesn't get the shit beat out of them, because of their skin color or the way they talk or what they wear. It's a fucking mess.
Or for being smart.
Exactly. My 5-year-old wants to ride the bus so fucking bad. She's not even old enough to go to school yet. And that's one of the biggest fears I have as a parent is putting her on a school bus. Like
You're not wrong for that, May. You're not wrong. And where I live is a lot smaller and a lot kinder. Like, I don't mind the school system here. I get along with them pretty well. I know a lot that's going on. My son tells me everything anyways. Like, I got that going for me. But even when he rode the bus, it was still scary. He come home crying. Like, I cut that off. He hasn't rode the bus in like 2 years. I take him to school. I pick him up because it's just,
and you
it's
can't.
nothing but bullies. And the bus driver doesn't do shit.
I think a mistake some parents make is that you want to shield your kids from all this horribleness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a huge mistake as well. Like, they need to see it. They need to experience. I'm not saying the horrible stuff, but they need to know that that's out there.
Yeah,
they need to be aware of
yeah.
it. They can't be like 18 and then exposed to all of it, because then it won't go
No,
well.
I agree with that too. And he still sees plenty, and he gets bullied a little bit still at school, but kids are dicks, whatever. But I just got tired of him crying every day. I was like, fuck it.
This comment here by AK. The school system was created by the Rothschild, like Eddie Bravo says. I got an Eddie Bravo reference in. Well done, AK. In nature, kids are raised by their parents and community.
Mm-hmm.
And it's at the allure of public schools, I think, should be over. Like, the belief that you can just send your kid to a public school and they'll come out smart, and you can't do that anymore. You're going to have to do an aspect of homeschooling even with them being in a public school. That's a lot of problem. In the 80s and 70s, they were sold this bill of goods on the public school system so that both parents could go to work. And we are seeing it. We are seeing what happens to any type of government institution over a period of 50, 60, 80 years. It dissolves and it becomes fat and bloated at the top, and none of the benefits trickle down to these kids. There's no real learning going on. It's just.
And there are small groups that teachers have gotten tired and sick of the bullshit have come together and formed, homeschooling networks and other types of developmental, schooling and whatnot. So, I mean, you just have to look. You just have to, but I was just looking into that other types of learning stuff too, because I was interested in that. I can't remember the exact. I'll have to look, but there's different types of development and teaching and whatnot. But it's impossible to get those kids in because you either need to have a large sum of money to donate, or to yada yada, or a wait list of years and years and years, because they know how good and pure it is for the kids. So it's just interesting.
It's something to keep your eye on. Make sure you talk to your kids,
because even private schools and stuff aren't cracked up to what they're advertised as.
All right. Well, great Molech news segment, everyone. That's real good. Not depressing at all. No, I don't think it's depressing. I just think
it's food for thought.
It's going on. Whether a lot of people don't like to talk about it because they want to pretend everything's hunky dory, but it's not. It's not.
I mean, what are we more worried about? What are we more worried about? Our young students pregnating these heavy-chested teachers, or drag queens that are the size of Titanic with their dicks dangling out for recess time? What are we more worried about here? Because I'm gonna be on the side of let's go get those heavies instead of sitting there watching something with balls and a dick, talking about the creation of circle of life.
Oh my god.
I can't be the only one.
No, we're moving on. You've got, it's the Pitbull Super. I played it too early. You get way too riled up, and then you have to find a way to release it on the show. It's horrible. Like, I got to do it at the very end of the show, I think. from now on.
Damn it, May.
Yes. RFK news. First of all, do you guys remember when JFK Jr. died?
Yep.
Do you remember this? Do you remember how he died? Do you remember the whole story?
With an airplane crash.
Yeah, the plane crash.
They said his instrumentation went out and he was flying upside down. And
Yeah.
he flew into like a cliff or
skyscraper, I thought.
Did he fly into a skyscraper?
Was it into the ocean? I thought it was in the ocean.
No, maybe that.
I just know Hillary Clinton killed him. So,
well, I just, I laugh about that, but
she won the seat, right? Like that was.
Remember John F. Kennedy Jr.? He was declared the front runner for the New York Senate seat back in 1999. Days later, his plane crashed into the Atlantic Ocean,
and Hillary Clinton won the seat.
His rival, Hillary Clinton, was elected senator.
Now you got to remember the premise of this. Hillary Clinton had never been in office, and she had tried to produce the healthcare legislation back in, I think, 94, and it got just blown out of Congress because it was so horrible. And so now, to establish her own political career, what must you do? You have to be elected to a smaller seat. And what's the smaller seat? It was JFK Jr.'s. Did it out of all the districts in the country, she picks JFK Jr.'s? Why do they hate him?
Mary Mahoney was a Clinton White House intern. She knew enough of the inner workings of Bill's sexual advancements to be a star witness during the Clinton impeachment trials. She was brutally executed at a Starbucks she was managing in 1997. In 1990, counsel Vince Foster was found dead in Fort Marcy Park near D.C.
Double tap suicide on that one. Almost as good as Canada's care. I thought that was interesting, but I did find it makes more sense now, because I don't know if you saw, for the 5th time, RFK Jr. has been denied Secret Service protection. For the 5th time, it's unprecedented. He's polling at 18% nationwide, and for the 5th time, he's been denied any type of Secret Service protection. And I did find this and this is why I think is because I think they're afraid of him. I don't remember the last time someone pulled at 18%. But he gave this little tidbit, and it's a little phantom fact tucked away in here.
Shooting movies in West Virginia. It looks like Narnia. We could shoot Lord of the Rings there.
You're talking about the landscapes in Appalachia, and it's interesting because it's the richest ecosystems in North America. And the reason for that is during the Pleistocene Ice Age, which was 20,000 years ago, there were 2 miles of ice over where I lived in New York. And the rest of North America became a tundra. So there were no trees left. And the only place that the American forest survived was in Appalachia. And then when the ice withdrew, North America was reseeded from those Appalachian forests. The typical forest in this country, on the East Coast forest like in Vermont or Georgia, has 3 dominant tree species. In Appalachia, there's 80, because just the richness of that ecosystem. More species per cubic meter than any other place in North America. And it's really a crime that we're cutting it all down. These coal companies, Peabody, Consul, Massey, have cut down 1.4 million acres. The 500 biggest mountains of West Virginia are gone. And it's a sterilized ecosystem after that. My father used to say about West Virginia, it's the richest state in the country, but it has the poorest population. And it's because the mines, Massey Coal is not locally owned. Peabody and Consul are not. They're all owned by Wall Street. Well, if Americans knew, this is the Purple Mountains Majesty. These are the landscapes where Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett roamed. So much of our culture, bluegrass music, NASCAR racing, all of these iconic parts of American culture.
Racial equality.
Yeah, exactly.
And
20,000 years.
I thought that was an interesting little. I didn't know that about West Virginia.
That's super pretty. He's not wrong, but yeah, it's.
Wouldn't you like to have a president that knew that type of stuff about his country. You know, like that's the type of stuff I like about him. That's an interesting fact about your own country, and to show the value that it has to offer to the rest of the United States. I just thought it was interesting.
He's always been involved with the environment, RFK.
Yeah. Since the 80s, he's been an environmental lawyer.
Yeah.
And he sued a lot of companies because I don't know if you got a chance to listen to his Joe Rogan interview. I think it's episode 1999. But if you get a chance, you should listen to it. It's 3 hours long, and it's fascinating when he talks about the environment and the tests they were doing and finding out that mercury was worse in the rivers than in the tuna fish in the oceans. And all these pregnant women were coming to him and talking, or not pregnant, they were pregnant, and they lost their babies, or babies came out deformed or with diseases, and he tied this all together. It's this guy did a lot of legwork in the 80s and 90s against these people. I don't know, I thought it was interesting. Brittany comments, save the trees, grow hemp. Anyway, any comments on that one? Moving along. All right. I think it's time for Is It Weird? Is it weird? Rich, do you know about this segment of the show? Is it weird? Okay. Is It Weird is show everyone game we can all play along with, including in the comments. I picked 2 crazy stories, and you have to tell me which one you think is weirder. It's definitely could use better marketing on this game, but here we go. First one.
Physically held a key that opened every single door in the facility. I had complete access to every compartment they manufactured.
What are you blowing the whistle on?
That there are technologies at the South Pole Station that people can't even consider that exist on this planet. Directed energy weapon systems is something that people need to get into their vocabulary fast. The Ice Cube neutrino detector is not simply a passive listening device as presented for the science that they're claiming it to do. It also has the capacity to transmit. There are embedded in the ice what are called digital optical modules, DOMs. They're about the size of a basketball. The array embedded in the ice is 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. It is the world's largest telescope. And now, because we have proven that it can transmit, it's the world's largest directed energy weapons system. It is responsible for the earthquakes in Christchurch, New Zealand.
Someone from the inside in Antarctica claiming that there's direct energy weapons. I mean, that's
why that treaty was so powerful.
What do you mean?
That Antarctica treaty, like the whole, that's that forbidden fruit you can't go down there and fuck with, because they know what's down there.
That's why you think you can't fly over Antarctica?
Yeah, you can't get anywhere fucking close to it.
I thought it was because the Earth was flat. Brittany says first is very much true, not weird, just fucked up. That counts as weird. Maybe it's which is more fucked up should be the name of the show. I mean, you hear stuff like that, and I don't know, man. Like, it just seems a little out there.
Did anyone see that video of that radar of that mass coming out of Antarctica, and then it was going up the Atlantic coast into the Atlantic Ocean?
That huge
and a lot
wave.
Of people said it was a glitch, but yeah, it was like 80-something foot waves. It was like a wake or whatever.
It followed from Antarctica up through, hit Africa on the little hook, and then swung around into the middle of the Atlantic. Yeah. And you could follow the whole thing. And they're like, no, it's a glitch. It's a glitch. But supposedly,
that's like with the whole Dubai being underwater kind of thing right now. You know how they were we talked about that, I think, last week, about the creating your own weather and stuff. I think they fucked up on accident, and we're saying that's the reason. What would call it, HARPA or HARP? Whatever. Yeah, HARP. they like seeded it, and I guess it must have been incorrect or something messed up, and now
it's like too much.
It was weird that they had an earthquake in New York and New Jersey as well. I lived there my whole life, and I've never experienced that. But
well, and then CERN's firing back up. Yeah. When CERN first fired up in 2013, there was huge earthquakes caused from that. And maybe they just told people that CERN was firing up the same day as the eclipse, so that when they fire it up earlier than that, no one assumes that it's CERN.
that's when that radar was the day of the eclipse. That radar clip from Antarctica.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jesus, someone's getting a phone call. Thank you. Okay, so that's the first one. Is it weird? Now this one, man, this one fucked with my head a little bit. We all know this footage. And now when I'll just play it.
Conspiracy theory. You've seen all the grainy footage of nuclear test blasts with the mushroom clouds. And there are always these grainy things, and there's all these like little houses lined up and these little trees lined up, and it blows everything down. Yeah. Okay, so here's the question, right? So what happened? Okay, so this is great. Okay, you'll love this. So what happened to the camera?
You son of a bitch.
How is that happening yet the camera is like totally stable and fine?
Oh my god.
And by the way, and the film is fine. The radiation didn't cause any damage to the film.
Oh my god.
By the way, okay, we'll do this one more time here. Where's the car? Where's the car
behind the house? It just showed up.
Oh,
okay.
It just showed up.
So wait a minute. First of all,
wasn't there.
First of all, where'd the car come from?
No car.
The second is, does it really look like
car?
A real, does that look like a real car?
That's insane.
And look at the and look at when the house blows. Look at the wood. Does that look like those are full size giant lumber beams as they go flying? Is that a house or is that is that a 12-inch scale model?
What?
Right.
That does look fake.
It was also the camera didn't move at all either.
You know what it looks like? It looks like the smoke is too big. Watch when it hits. Like the volume, like the size of it.
This footage right here, it looks so fake.
It looks small. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it looks like we're looking at something that's like a few inches tall.
If you watch
that huge blast and the camera's just sitting there, and it's only in front of the camera, like
making of Star Wars, any of the any movies before CGI, whenever they do anything like that, it's always with these tiny models.
Yeah, this looks fake as shit.
Right, another one. It's like, okay, the camera's fine.
That's hilarious.
If you're listening to it, give yourself a second. Go to a minute 20, and you can watch it on YouTube.
That's just so wild. That's so wild because literally, like, the beginning of this week, I saw on TikTok that this guy gets paid by Hollywood for like special effects stuff, and everything he does is like toy cars and little hills that he builds, and it looks so fucking real. You would think it was like, a full-sized, legit, like off of a mountain or off of a cliffside, and all it is little car fucking toys and man-made little hills. So that shit didn't surprise me at all.
When you saw that as a kid, I never thought of it. I just thought like, oh man, that's what nukes do. That's rough. And then I never saw that footage ever again. But I've always remembered that footage. If someone said something, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember them testing that fake town with, they made movies about it and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, watching it, 30 years later, it looks fake as hell.
Mm-hmm.
The car, like, why'd they hide the car? Like, why couldn't you see the car up close?
Right.
It's like Game of Thrones when they left the Starbucks cups in the, in the scenes. Just bad editing.
This is like just more propaganda to scare the masses into submission. AK says, I believe the nuclear footage is fake, but even if it was real, never underestimate the desire of our leaders to fake something and pocket the rest of the money. If you see that, they faked everything. Like that, if that's fake, which I now
call Devin with the moon landing.
Yeah.
Call him.
That was a Stanley Kubrick production.
Yeah.
Yes.
All of it. We're living in a simulation.
Damn.
Is it weird? Which one wins? We've got the fake nuke footage, or real footage, or the Antarctica dude that believes in directed energy weapons being used to.
Is it weird?
I'm gonna go with the nuclear.
Yeah, I'm about those nukes.
I love both of them. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
true.
The first one is like, oh, ta-da! Like the second one is because, like you said, if you go back that far where you remember seeing it first, you're like, oh shit! And now you look at it now, and yeah, you guarantee that that's all just fucking bamboozle.
You think they fooled everybody then, but they're not fooling anybody now. So the direct energy weapons are like, come on, totally have that stuff.
Yeah. I'm telling you, like, people aren't stupid. Like, when we went to the moon and they kept broadcasting, everybody was like, quit ruining my fucking I Love Lucy reruns. We know this bullshit's fake. Like,
that's right. I forgot about that.
Like, get out of here.
God.
Now, so if you think about, it's interesting because I ask people about this, occasionally, like, hey, what do you think of the moon landing? And it used to be, we went to the moon, absolutely, no doubt. And now what I get is, we didn't go to the moon the first time.
Yeah.
So it's progressed to the realization of, okay, yeah, they faked but then we went the other times. We went the other times.
Definitely went the other times.
It's just interesting, keep it. I don't know if any of you ever go around asking people if they believe in the moon landing. Maybe why people don't talk to me.
Every once in a while.
Hey, sir, what's your name? Do you believe the moon landing happened? Like this?
What was it? Okay, yeah.
Blicky says there were precautions in place to allow the cameras to survive, and a lot were designed to survive radiation exposure. A lot of them were ruined by blast. We only see the ones that survived. LMAO.
Okay.
That's interesting. Now, Blicky, I'm just gonna pull it up. All right, we're just gonna take a gander, and we're gonna mute this here. I mean, that's real. Here's the car. No car.
No car.
Here's the car. No car.
You think they ran inside to put the groceries in, and then
He's like, oh,
he was
shit.
like,
right.
Look at that car.
Yeah.
Look at that car, Blicky. That's
Why
not a
is there
real
only
car.
one car?
That's not a real car.
Right.
Right. And then this one right here. If you watch the blast, I mean, doesn't it look like a cannonball almost? Like how it sort of like splays open? Looks like it's splaying open.
Yeah. I thought nukes just disintegrated.
I mean, whatever that is, that would win first place in the science fair.
Yes. Another comment from Brittany Bergen. We definitely went to the moon. Just the footage was faked.
Girl, I don't know.
I mean, but
I might
then
have
where's
to dig up that
your
episode
proof
where
we went to the moon? You know what I mean? If the footage was fake, we all agree the footage was fake, then we have no proof we went to the moon.
Yeah. They brought back moon rocks.
That's
okay.
right.
So you went crawling around in the fucking Black Hills, and look at the moon rock.
What did they say that moon rock was made out of? That's like the Finnish government tried to take to a pawn shop.
Petrified wood.
That's right.
That's right.
The new one is about the what is it? The Challenger? Was that the one that exploded? And now all the doppelgangers are popping up like all over.
That'd be a fun one to go down. We should go down that for sure. Yeah, because Brittany Bergen, the film didn't survive the radiation from space. Okay, so
that's because humans can't survive the radiations from space.
So these cameras survived the radiation from an atomic bomb But this film did not survive. Even though this is 20 years later from this. It's 20 years later from that. We didn't have the technology to keep that film protected. But we had the technology to keep the blast protected. I'm just saying.
Right.
Fan effects, think about it. No?
Remember, it was all lost.
Everything's always
footage,
lost.
They lost it somehow.
One way or another, the footage is always gone.
Yeah, they got rid of the footage, and then they destroyed the blueprints for how to get to the moon. They said, "We're never doing this again." In 1973, we're just going to burn this, put it through a shredder. No one ever wants to save this. Smithsonian would definitely not want that.
No,
absolutely not.
Technology started.
It's
fine. It's fine.
All right. Well, how do you guys feel about we finish off with a good old church fight?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this was a Vegas revival convention. And before it started, they had a male stripper come out and do a little dance because it is Vegas after all. And this one pastor takes umbrage. He takes umbrage with it.
But let me do this. I've been up since 1 o'clock in the morning. The reason I'm hoarse is I have been.
The reason he's hoarse, anyone want to take a guess? The reason he's hoarse is because he was crying out in anger. What we got, man?
Cocaine and strippers.
Okay.
Yeah. When in Vegas.
No, how dare you? The reason his voice was hoarse is because
praying for you, and
he was praying.
My heart is very burdened for you.
I love how in Vegas
Thank
they're like,
you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Your heart felt bad for us. Yeah.
And I want to be very careful with this, and it's not what I want to say, but the Jezebel spirit has already been here. The Jezebel spirit opened our event. This is a rebuke and a correction of no one. This is an observation.
So he's going to tell you his observation of what he really saw happen.
Before the Word of God was open, there was a platform. It was a high place. On it was a pole, an ashtray. The same thing that's used in a strip club for women who have the Jezebel spirit to seduce men. In front
Mays visited Jezebel quite a few times, haven't you?
of that was a man
Single mamas need money too.
who ripped his shirt off like a woman does in front of a pole at a strip club.
What I'm getting here is he's not upset that he's upset it was a male stripper. If it had been a female stripper, it would have been okay. But the fact that this dude was doing it, what?
That man then ascended. See, our God is not arrogant. He doesn't ascend. Our God is humble. He
Now, there's multiple pastors running this convention here. And so the other one, the cool one, chimes in.
And then he swallowed a sword. And
he swallowed a sword. You can hear the guy back. Time to wrap it up, Tom.
Jesus Christ. Okay, Pastor John, I'll receive that. Thank you.
Let me just say this.
Are they cheering for this old man or no?
It's torn. At first they were cheering, and then now they're not cheering.
Because like Larry get off the platform. Yeah,
he did look like Larry David. At first, I thought it was like I could see Larry David getting caught into something like this. Like, guys.
If Mark wanted to say that, he should have said it to me first. He didn't. Matthew 18. If your brother offends you, go to him privately. I talked to Mark for a half hour. There was not one word of that.
have one problem with the stripper when I was talking to him.
Down line. If you want to say it, he can say it to me. You may not agree with me. You may not agree with him. But we are brothers in Christ, and there's a right way to handle this.
It's okay. So anyway, that ended up being a big brouhaha. I just, probably not a great marketing plan. Bring a stripper on to a church revival.
What were the people in the audience saying? I couldn't. They seemed angry, but
So at first they were like, it felt like it was divided, but then they all decided that the stripper was a bad choice, and they all started booing the other guy because I think they were more upset he kicked the one dude off the stage and told him to get off. I think that's what they were really pissed off about. I was like, hey man, he gets the right to talk too. And he was making Pastor John look real bad.
Can't have that.
All right, everybody.
It's not good for his private jet. He's not going to make much money.
Have you ever seen The Righteous Gemstones?
Oh, yeah.
If you get a chance to watch that on HBO, you should. It's one of the best big church comedies.
I heard it was hilarious. I didn't see it.
It's
they all have to operate that way. Ever since watching that TV show, that's all I can think about is every time I pass a big church, I'm like, where's their hangar? Where's their jet? Where's all the other shit going on?
All right. Well, we'll be back Saturday to interview. Saturday. We're going to interview Lando from Squatter Squad out in California. He's the guy that started that business to remove squatters that were getting into people's houses and then making them go through eviction notices. This guy has created a business to prevent the whole court proceeding, and he's bringing his lawyer on as well to discuss like the legality of how they go through it. And so, people in like Florida is really bad with this right now. Texas is really bad. We saw the one in New York. The White
won,
House,
by the way.
Well, yeah, they eventually do, but it's a 30-day or however long it takes to get the court to actually rule on it. And those people get to stay there that entire time until it's ruled on. So like this guy, he goes in there and, in and out, gets him out. It's very interesting. And he's been on a lot of TV shows. So I'm grateful he works 2 jobs, this and his other job. So grateful he's coming on Saturday. That'll be 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. I don't know if any of you guys can make it, but if you are interested in talking to him with me, let me know. We'll have the comments open too. I think it'd just be interesting sort of see what he's going to say. And then Toppy Thursday. Thursday. Spike Cohen's joining the show April 30th. That's it's big for us. Big for Spike. It's really going to push him into the spotlight coming on Phantom Facts. So
hell yeah.
Hopefully he gets us, maybe gives us a little nod. We like wine. I think we all like wine. Is that correct? So, and then, Toppy Thursday, every Thursday at 8:30ish Central Standard Time. Rich, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Sunbun, May. We'll see y'all next week. And as normal, we finish. Phantom Facts, everybody. We'll see you next week.
advise take the following destination if exposed.
Yeah.